Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Jen Cruz, She Squatchers.
Who are you?
Oh, I thought he was pointing at you.
She
I'm,
was.
I'm Ken Gerhard, cryptozoologist.
I'm Tammy. She's Watchers.
Hey, we're at the Denver airport and we've discovered the secret construction site going on back there. Ken has a theory.
Yes, I think this is perhaps the secret government facility where they're going to move the Bigfoot bodies that the government has been keeping in underground bunkers. And what a great idea to have it at an airport where no one would ever suspect. I mean, millions of people walking right by it. So it's kind of an evil genius thing as far as I'm concerned.
What do you think about that idea, Tammy?
I think they're going to keep Bigfoot down in the underground tunnels that the government has dug at the Denver airport.
Yes.
You know, anything is possible, that's all I gotta say. And it's also possible that we're just at the airport in Denver together for about 6 hours
That
or
could
so.
be it too.
And we're just walking around making up some fun stories to entertain ourselves a little bit. So
It's always a
that's what we're doing.
possibility, yeah. This is the sometimes life of a Bigfoot researcher when you're, fortunately we're kind of in the new year and Bigfoot conferences are starting to come back a little bit, and I think we all enjoy traveling to them when we have an opportunity. So we actually spend a lot of time at airports, don't we?
Yeah, a lot of time.
I do as well.
A lot of
So I don't mind it so much, but yeah, here we are.
So for all of you out there, Ken Gerhard has been on TV and stuff. So Ken, can you tell us about all those shows you've been on?
Well, I don't want to make this a me thing, but
We're
no,
making it a you thing.
People probably know the hat. I'm very blessed to be a cryptozoologist. I travel around and I investigate not only Bigfoot, but other mysterious animals like the Loch Ness Monster and the Mothman and Chupacabra, and I write books about that. And I've been very fortunate. I appeared on some TV shows. I hosted a series called Missing in Alaska in 2015, and I've been on Monster Quest a few times, and Ancient Aliens, and Unexplained with William Shatner, and I just do what I love, and like I said, I feel very, very blessed.
That is awesome. I want to be on one of those shows, even just one.
Any of them. Pick one.
So call me.
And me.
Yeah, that's another thing. Make sure you scoot over here enough, Tabby, because
Cutting me off.
We have to be kind of close because my selfie stick is
yeah,
only so long.
we're all huddling together. You know how airport chairs are; they're kind of spread apart. But anyways, I wish I had that kind of control. And it's interesting. A lot of people don't understand how television really works. When you're the talent, you're basically the talent.
Mm-hmm.
So there's producers and there's executive producers and there's networks, and all those people are paying like millions of dollars to produce a show. So when people sometimes they'll message me and say, "Hey, can you get me on the Travel Channel?" And I'm just here to tell you, honestly, I can't. I don't have that ability to just
It's
say.
not your show.
I can't call the Travel Channel executives and say, "Hey, you need to get this guy on there." Josh Gates probably can do that. I can't do that, but he's on another level. But I will add this in. I'm currently filming season 2 of a series called "The Proof Is Out There" on the History Channel, and the producers have asked me to put out a call if anyone has a remarkable video, and it doesn't just have to be Bigfoot, it could be paranormal or UFOs or whatever. They're constantly looking for videos to put on that show, and it has to be like, it can't be one of those kind of ambiguous things where you're looking at it going, maybe I see that. It has to be like, whoa, that's crazy. So if anyone out there has a video like that, they can get in touch with me, and I can put them in touch with producers.
There you go.
Where the proof is out there, and maybe their video will end up on that show, and it'll be, scrutinized. So if they're willing
Overly
to do that,
scrutinized.
yes, that's what they do on that show. So
Isn't it fun when you come up with a piece of evidence and then people are like trying to figure out how you could have faked that?
Right? That's great. How did you fake that shot?
well, that happens, and it's I'll admit I'm very skeptical when it comes to photographic evidence, particularly as technology just keeps getting better and better, because I've seen some really brilliant You guys probably have too, fabrications where you're like, wow, how did they do this? And then you find out later on that they did do it somehow. But, not that it's not an important line of evidence, because people should, if they could capture something on film, could be the next Patterson Gimlin or, whatever. But, it's interesting.
Very cool, very cool. So, is there anything really cool coming up for the future for you?
Well, let's see. I'm finally doing a couple of expeditions. I haven't done any field work in a while. But in July, I'm leading a team from Texas and Oklahoma, and we're meeting up with the Bluff Creek Project in Northern California.
Nice.
And we're going to be camped out just 4 miles from the Patterson Gimlin film site. But we're not looking for Bigfoot. We're actually going to be searching for giant salamanders. And
Really?
yes, this is an interesting storyline, but within the fabric of Bigfoot lore, and if you go back and read a lot of books by like John Green and Ivan Sanderson and others, alongside Bigfoot through the decades, there have been sightings of these giant salamanders that are like, 5 feet long or bigger, which are like, there are salamanders that big in China and Japan, those really big, the biggest amphibians in the world. So, in fact, the famous Pacific Northwest project, the Pacific Northwest expedition, which was, if you know your Bigfoot history, it was John Green, Renee DeHinden, Bob Titmus, Peter Byrne, Tom Slick, all those guys back in the 50s were looking for Bigfoot. Tom Slick was paying for everything because he was a millionaire, and he said, oh, by the way, while you're out looking for Bigfoot, look for giant salamanders too, because I want to find one of those. So anyways, there are sightings, and the Bluff Creek Project, and in particular a guy named Jamie Wayne, who's a really excellent researcher, is really interested and passionate about these giant salamanders. And they've also spoken to Native American people in the area, Hoopa and other cultures, that have traditions in their culture of these giant salamanders that live in these fast-flowing rivers. So anyways, so this is a real cryptozoological expedition where we're going to go over there, and Jamie's already bought like an underwater ROV with a camera, a submarine, and we have underwater cameras and snorkeling gear and all kinds of gadgets. So I'm excited about this.
I'd do that. I'd go snorkeling.
And since we're right there at Bluff Creek, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll be looking for a giant salamander and Patty will wander up or something.
There you go.
So, question, how big are these giant salamanders?
Well, at least 5 feet long, although there was an old sighting, and a lot of the famous sightings are kind of old, but there was one guy that said they were about 8 or 9 feet long, which would just be ridiculous. I mean, there were amphibians, during the Carboniferous period, like, 300 million years ago, there were big amphibians like that, but these days you wouldn't expect to find anything like that. But they also have these traditions of these giant salamanders up in British Columbia, but there they call them alligators, even though they're obviously not alligators living in Canada, right? As far as we know, unless you're a Lake Placid fan, maybe. But anyways,
How big
so yeah.
around are they, like in the belly?
Well, you look at something like,
A
I don't know
basketball?
how big does that look on the camera.
That looks really big.
Is that a basketball?